Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss an important concept in the field of sociolinguistics, and that is diglossia. So let's learn in detail what is diglossia. So what is diglossia? Diglossia is when a society uses two distinct varieties of the same language. So when we have two versions or two varieties of the same language used by a society or a single speech community, this phenomena or this concept is known as diglossia. Now, out of these two varieties, one will be called high variety and one will be called low variety. High variety used for formal and public purposes, for example, education and speeches in parliament and documentation, right, for religious purpose like sermons. So you should not be confused with the dialect, because these are not two dialects, because dialects don't have a distinct function. While in diglossia, when the two varieties are used of the same language, so these two varieties have distinct function in society, right? So what are those two distinct functions? For example, one might be used for the purpose of education, right? And it might be for speeches, it might be for sermons, right? It might be some for like public occasion, public speaking, etc. While the low variety of the same language that is used for casual or everyday communication, right? So we have two varieties of the same language. One is used for casual and everyday life situation, while one variety is used in a formal situation, okay, like public speaking, education, or like public occasion, etc. Now, key idea. Each variety has specific role, right? And people switch between them based on the context, in which context they are. For example, if they are at home, so they may be using like that low variety of language with their brothers, sisters, friends, and marketplace, etc. While when they are in a formal context, for example, at university, in the parliament, attempting an examination, right? Or like writing, producing some document. So then they switch to that formal variety of language. Now, this concept of diglossia was introduced by Charles Ferguson, right, 1959. Now, example of diglossia will be like Arabic speaking countries, for example, and Greece, where German speaking, Switzerland, and like Haiti. So this is okay. These are the example of diglossic societies. Okay, Arabic speaking countries like Greece, German speaking, Switzerland, as well as Haiti. So these are the example of diglossic societies. Now here we have example of diglossia. In Arabic speaking communities, for example, one variety of the Arabic language will be used as high variety. This is also known as classical Arabic or uh, modern standard Arabic. Okay, so one will be high variety will be classical Arabic or modern standard Arabic. So use in media, literature, and formal speeches. Fine, we are talking about Arabic speaking communities where high variety such as classical Arabic or modern standard Arabic used in media, literature, and formal speeches. while low variety like colloquial Arabic varieties spoken in everyday life, which can differ greatly from region to region, right? So in one region might be one low variety will be spoken, while in another region another low variety of the same Arabic will be speaking. So it means okay that then there are also variation in that low variety of Arabic language. Let's take the example of Pakistan. In Pakistan, high variety like standard Urdu used in education, media, and official circumstances or setting. While low variety of the Urdu that is called colloquial Urdu that is used in informal and everyday speech. For example, that the Urdu that is spoken by the people in everyday life situation, right? In Pakistan, like in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, like in Punjab, like in Sindh, like Balochistan, where there is also touch to their local languages. For example, if the Urdu is spoken in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, so you can see the touch of Pashto language in Urdu also. So this is okay, what it makes it low variety of Urdu, right? So the high variety of Urdu you are going to learn or you are going to acquire in a formal setting like in school, college and university. And that formal variety of Urdu will be used in parliament, will be used in textbooks, right? Will be used on public occasion, will be used in speeches, etc. While the low variety of Urdu that will be used for general communication by the mass, by the people all over Pakistan. Right, so Urdu is also the example of diglossia. Okay, so it means okay that Pakistan is also a diglossic society. Not overall, like we can't call Pashto completely diglossia, right? We can't call Yusufzai dialect completely diglossia. There might be some element in Pashto language, okay, which might be related to diglossia, but Pashto as a whole is not diglossia, right? Or Sindhi as a whole is not diglossia. Yes, we can say Urdu and Punjabi, okay, but comparison to Urdu and Punjabi, so Urdu is diglossia. So you should understand that when these two varieties have distinct function, that is not based on region, that is not based on social class, that is not based on age, that is not based on gender, but rather it is based on the function, the roles, okay, these two varieties perform in a society. So one role that will be in formal setting, while another role that will be informal setting. Now here on this slide we will discuss some of the characteristic of high variety. So formal version of language and often older and more complex. So they say that high variety of language, that is formal version of the language, formal version, and often that is older and more complex in terms of vocabulary, in terms of syntactic structures, and it is complexity is there in terms of codification also. And it is codified with strict grammar rules and a rich written traditions. So there will be rich written tradition and it will be codified in terms of vocabulary and grammar. And it will be learned in schools, not at home. Right? So low variety, it is learned or it is acquired where? At home. Okay? As for example, just like your first language or mother tongue. While this high variety, it is acquired or it is learned in school. right? You are taught the grammar, you are taught the sentence structure, you are taught the rules of this high variety of language. Now, it is used in official setting like government, courts, and schools, literature, and public speeches. While the low variety is not used in such circumstances or in such contexts. Similarly, the example of standard Arabic, that is high variety, is used for teaching media and religious sermon, right? Example of standard Arabic, that is high variety. It is used where? It is used in teaching, it is used in media, and it is used in religious ceremonies, etc. Sermons, etc. Similar, the case is also with Urdu language, uh, that is used in teaching, right? If you're in university, school, college, somewhere, and is also used in media and religious sermons. Now, characteristics of low variety of a language. So that will be informal and spoken at home and in casual setting. Right? You are at home, you are in a cafeteria, you are on the road, you are in the bus, right? You're in a party, wedding party, birthday party, or somewhere else. So that will be a casual setting for this low variety of language. It will be informal, not a formal one, and learn naturally as a first language. As first language at home because you learn as a first language, and this high variety it is learned just like a second or a foreign language because you're learning the rules of that variety. So that is not standardized and varies widely between regions. So that is not standardized, right? And that varies widely between region because in one region this low variety will be spoken with one manner, and in another region this low variety will be spoken with another manner. Okay, let's take the example of Pashto language, right? If you go towards Swat, from the low variety of Yusufzai will be spoken with one manner, and if you go up, so this low variety will be changed based on the regions, like in Kohat, like in Karag, like in Banu, Di Khan, Hangu, like in Marwat. So these all then are the low variety of a language. Fine. As I told that Pashto is not a diglossia, okay, but it has some elements of diglossia. So it is used in daily communication and family, friends, and local markets. We're talking about low variety of a language. Example like local Arabic dialects like Egyptian or Moroccan Arabic. So we have the example because it varies region to region. Like we have Egyptian and then we have Moroccan. So Egyptian and Moroccans, we have the low variety and then we have the standard variety. Fine. So it also varies based on the region. How diglossia impacts society? This is a question. Now, language learning. Everyone learns the low variety spoken at home. So the low variety that we learn from where? At home. And the high variety is acquired later in schools, creating a gap between educated and uneducated speaker. Like those who do not go to school, college, or university. So they may not acquire the high variety of that language, of Urdu language, of Arabic language, right? They may not acquire. They will just acquire what? The low variety, but not high variety. And this is okay, what creates social inequalities in societies. Fine. Access to education. If you have money, Okay, if you are rich enough, so you will have access to education, you will have access to higher education. When you have access to higher education, so you will have also access to high variety of that language, which will make you a distinguished individual from the rest of the people, right? So families families with more resources can afford better education and leading to inequalities in mastering the high variety. Right? Families who are rich enough, who have resources, they can acquire higher variety of language. And this will make them different from those who are uneducated. So kind of social inequalities. So social opportunities. So mastery of the high variety is critical for higher society, jobs, and formal communication. If you have or if you acquire high variety, so it will help you for better communication, it will help you to gain jobs, and it will provide you a prestigious or higher status in society also. Now, key insight: the high variety acts as a gatekeeper for success in diglossic societies. If a society is diglossic, diglossia, or diglossic society, so it's like a kind of gatekeeper. It gives you a way for gaining success, to have job, to have better opportunities. Now, example of diglossia in Arabic speaking society. High variety society like standard Arabic use in school, university, religious sermons and official media. And low variety that is used in local Arabic dialects such as Egyptian Arabic and Lebanese Arabic spoken in homes and informal setting. We are discussing the differences of high and low variety. Interesting fact that standard Arabic high variety is so distinct that it is taught in school like a second language, right? In Arabic speaking world. It is because if you talk about Urdu, so the low variety and high variety of Urdu might not be that much different from each other, right? There'll be mutual intelligibility. But if we talk about like Arabic speaking society, so there is a huge difference between low variety and high variety. And high variety is taught in school, college, okay? And it is taught and the students all are learning as a second language. It is not second language but as a second language. So illustration that a student uses Egyptian Arabic low variety at home but writes essays in standard Arabic at school, right? So you might speak Urdu at home, that is different. But when you come to school and you're writing essays, so then your vocabulary, your syntactic structure in Urdu will be quite different, right? So in school, college, one variety, and at home, another variety. Okay, do not confuse with dialects, because dialects are based on social regions or social class or gender or age and so on. But they do not have distinct function. If we talk about, right, because these Pashto dialects like Yusufzai dialect, Afridi dialect, and Banuchi dialect, and Khatak dialect, and Marwat dialect, so they are used in both setting, in formal also and in informal also. So there is no difference. They do not have a distinct function. Because Yusufzai dialect, it is used in a formal context as well as in informal context. So when they do not have, these dialects do not have a distinct role, distinct function. So we cannot call them diglossia, right? So Pashto language is not diglossia as I told, but there are certain features of diglossia. If you want me to discuss, so please ask your question, then I will answer in comment section. Now, expanding the concept of diglossia. So far, we are learning that diglossia refers to the existence of two varieties of the same language. But now we have the secondary definition, okay, or extended definition of diglossia, where we will be learning that diglossia cannot be restricted only to the two varieties of the same language, but also two distinct languages can be also diglossia, right? Now, in this context, when the two different languages can be diglossia, then we can say, okay, that in Pakistani context we have Urdu and we have English, okay, and then we have like Pashto, Sindhi, Balochi, and Seraiki. So these will be served as a low variety, while Urdu and English will serve as high variety, right? When we take this extended definition. So this definition, according to this definition, it says, is given by, okay, that is the earlier definitions, okay, Ferguson's definition that high varieties, high and low varieties must belong to the same language, e.g., for example, classical and colloquial Arabic, right? According to this definitions, which is given by Ferguson's, okay, that high variety and low variety, so both these varieties must belong to the same language. But we have another definition which is called extended definition, is given by Fishman's. He extended this definition. As I told, he says that diglossia can be two different languages. But remember, these two different languages must be related, and there is no clear-cut boundaries between dialect and language. That's why that Fishman's, he says that it can be diglossia can be two different languages, because sometimes we do not have a clear boundary between language and dialect, right? Or sometimes we see there will be mutual intelligibility, so we are confused whether it's a dialect or it is two distinct languages. So he says that diglossia can include societies where the high and low varieties are different languages, not two varieties of the same language, but different languages. Two different languages can be also diglossia. Now, example he gave, that is Paraguay, that is of high variety. Spanish formal setting is a high variety, okay, and Spanish in a formal setting. And low variety that is used, there is, let me make it, okay, is also visible for you. Low variety, that is Gorani. So that is daily, for daily communication it is used. Even they are two distinct languages, but still because they are related, so they can be called diglossia. So why the extension? So there is often no clear boundaries between varieties of the same language and different languages. That's why Fishman says that these two different languages can be also diglossia, because one language, we should keep one thing in mind, right? Even if there are two different languages, but they serves different roles, different functions, right? One language is used for daily communication, it is an informal setting, it is not used for education, and one language is specific to media education and like formal setting. So even two distinct languages can be also diglossia. Similarly, that we have two varieties of the same language. If their roles are distinct, then we call them diglossia. If the roles are not distinct, like for example, we talk about Pashto language, Yusufzai. So Yusufzai dialect, if we take the example of Banuchi dialect or Khatak dialect, so these dialects, like if there is Khatak dialect, Banuchi dialect, Yusufzai dialect, so they are used uh, in both circumstances, in a formal setting also and informal setting also, for education also, for daily communication also. That's why we cannot call them diglossia. And we can call diglossia even if there are two different languages, but one is used for one role is different than another language. So that's why they say there is no clear-cut boundaries between dialect and language. So that's why that fishermen say that it can be two languages also. Now here we have diglossia versus non-diglossic society. So some society are diglossic society while some are non-diglossic society. Let's learn this now. Diglossic society. High variety is formal and learn later in school, right? And low variety is informal and learn at home. In diglossic society such as Arabic speaking countries and some European countries, okay, like Pakistan is also there, where high variety is formal one and it is learned later in school like a second language like Urdu, while the low variety it is informal and it is learned at home, right? If you do not go to school, so you will not acquire high variety, you will just be strict to low variety of that language. Non-diglossic societies are those societies where language variation is based on accent, register, or dialect, not formality. So in these variety, non-diglossic society, right, there are variation. But these variation or varieties are based on accent, pronunciation, register according to the context, situation in which you are using, and according to regions, like we have dialect, but not according to formality, that one is used in informal setting and one is used in formal setting. Now, for example, in English speaking countries, variations such as Cockney versus Received pronunciation depends on region. So one will be used in one region and one will be used in another region, and there will be societal context. Illustration of this will be the diglossia, standard Arabic like high variety versus Egyptian Arabic, low variety. Non-diglossia, British English, accent vary but are not used interchangeably, right? Because that British English accent of standard one, that can be used by in informal setting also and informal setting also. Because if you are in London, you are living in London, so you will find people who will be speaking in standard language, in standard dialect. And when they are in parliament, okay, they are in school, college, university, in public speaking, so the same standard variety will be also used there. So there's no distinction, right? And there's no distinct role of the standard English. So that's why they say that it is based on societies, regions, right? Not formalities. Importance of diglossia in sociolinguistics. Why study diglossia? So it helps classify societies by their language pattern, how they use their language pattern. That's why it's important. It highlights differences in formal and informal language use, and we know that which language is used in informal setting and which language is used in formal one. And sharply define varieties. Okay, this is low variety, this is high variety. In diglossic societies, high and low varieties are clearly separated. And in non-diglossic societies, variation is more fluid. So we don't know variation exists there. Intermediate cases. Even in diglossic society, there are situations where high variety and low variety overlap. Where in diglossic society, sometimes we see that high and low variety overlap. The one variety will be used in both places simply. Example, mixing formal and informal speech in casual setting. You have a casual setting, right, informal setting, and where you are mixing these both pattern of language, formal and informal one. So now we can summarize here diglossia, that definition of diglossia, two varieties of a language are used for different purposes, high variety, formal, and low variety, casual. Introduced by Ferguson's. Example include Arabic speaking countries and Greece and Haiti. And high variety that is formal and taught in school, used in official setting and standard. For example, standard Arabic. Now, low variety that is informal and learn naturally, used in everyday life, for example, Egyptian Arabic. Unextended definitions of diglossia can be fishman's, include cases where high and low variety are separate languages, for example, Spanish, Guarani, and Poragave. Poragave. And sixth number, the socio-linguistic value diglossia helps classify language, use patterns, and contrasts with non-diglossic society like the UK and US. So UK and US are non-diglossic society because that language is used in both contexts, informal also and informal also. So thank you so much. It was a detailed discussion on diglossia and the role of diglossia, definition of diglossia, primary definition, secondary definition, and then we gave so many examples of diglossia. Still, if there is any confusion, so please put your question in comment section. I'll answer. Thank you so much.